Imagine that awakening isn't something you climb toward, but something you relax back into, like lying down in a bed that was here the whole time. Most of us secretly believe awakening is a project. If we meditate hard enough, purify long enough, fix ourselves thoroughly enough, then one day we'll finally arrive. And so we strain, we push, we try to blast a hole through the clouds of our mind. But what if that very effort is what keeps the clouds swirling? What if awakening is less like winning a race and more like exhaling after holding your breath for years? In this video, we'll explore how to relax into awakening without forcing anything. No dramatic techniques, no spiritual gymnastics. Just a precise shift in how you relate to experience, moment by moment. Stay with me because the difference between effort and effortless clarity is subtle. And once you see it, your entire path begins to soften and open up. In this conversation, we're not chasing fireworks. We're exploring the quiet, unforced shift from doing awareness to simply being awareness. If you've been meditating, reading spiritual books, or trying to wake up for a while, you might feel tired, like no matter what you do, it's never quite enough. This video is especially for you. We'll unpack the hidden ways we strain on the path, how to recognize the felt sense of forcing, and how to gently rest as the awareness that's already here. We'll look at practical micro practices you can weave into ordinary life, washing dishes, answering emails, talking with friends, so awakening is not a special state but a natural orientation. If this resonates, consider subscribing and tapping the notification bell so you can join future deep dives like this. And stay with me until the end, where I'll summarize key takeaways and give you simple daily ways to integrate this effortless approach to awakening. Let's start with the core confusion. We treat awakening like self-improvement. Self-improvement says the current you is not enough. Work harder, then maybe you'll be worthy. Awakening says, the awareness noticing all of this has never been lacking. Those are two completely different games. When we confuse them, we bring the energy of self-improvement into spirituality. We try to become the best meditator, the most equanimous person, the one with the deepest insights. Even our letting go becomes tight. We sit down to meditate and secretly think, if I relax well enough, I'll finally get it. That's still a strategy of the mind. Relaxing into awakening begins by seeing this pattern clearly, without judgment. Just notice how much of your path has been fueled by subtle self-rejection. Noticing that, honestly, is already a softening. You don't have to fix it. Simply recognize, oh, I've been trying to earn what was never missing. To relax into awakening, you first need to recognize the texture of forcing in your own system. It's usually subtle. Notice what happens when you meditate. Is there a quiet agenda running in the background? This should feel different. I must calm down. I need to stay present. That inner commentary is already a form of pressure. Tune into your body. Forcing often shows up as tightening around the eyes, jaw, chest, or belly. It's the micro lean forward, the sense of trying to grab the moment instead of simply letting it arrive. Mentally, it feels like narrowing, a tunnel vision on progress, states, insights. For the next few breaths, wherever you are, just pause. Let your shoulders drop. Feel the contact points of your body with the chair or floor. Notice, is there even a 5% effort to make this experience different from what it already is? That 5% is the forcing we'll learn to gently release, again and again. Here's a paradox. Effort got you to the path, but effort can't deliver awakening. It's like using a ladder to reach the roof. Helpful, but at some point you have to step off. That doesn't mean passivity or laziness. It means shifting from willpower to receptivity. Effort feels like I am doing awareness. There's a doer, a technique, and an expected result. Relaxed awakening feels more like awareness is already here. Can I simply not interfere? The practice moves from production to permission. Try a tiny experiment right now. Instead of trying to pay attention to sounds, Notice that sounds are already appearing without your help. Birds, traffic, your own breath. None of this requires you to concentrate. The same is true for thoughts and sensations. They arise in awareness spontaneously. The question becomes, can you let this be enough without reaching for a different, better experience? That's the pivot from effort to effortless clarity. Let's talk about the nervous system, because awakening isn't just an idea, it's embodied. If your system is chronically in fight or flight, relaxing into awareness can actually feel unsafe. The body thinks, if I let go, everything will fall apart, so it clamps down. The key is titration, small doses of openness that your body can actually digest. Instead of demanding full surrender, you offer gentle invitations. For example, feel your feet on the ground, sense the weight of your body, take one slower exhale, then another. Let the out-breath be 10% longer than the in-breath. This is not a performance, it's a kindness. From this slightly soothed baseline, noticing awareness becomes much easier. Safety first, then subtlety. Awakening isn't about overriding your biology, it's about including it. When the body feels held, the mind doesn't have to work so hard to maintain control. Relaxation stops being a concept and becomes a felt reality. Now we'll shift from thinking about awareness to directly tasting it. You don't need any special state. Whatever is happening right now is enough. Start with this question, not as an intellectual puzzle, but as a pointer. What is it that is aware of this moment? There are sights, sounds, sensations, thoughts. All of those are changing. But the fact that you know they're here, that basic knowing, doesn't seem to come and go as quickly. Instead of looking for an answer, relax the mind's habit of searching. Let attention gently turn back toward the knower itself. Can you find a shape, a size, a color for this awareness? Does it have an edge where it stops, or is it more like an open, clear space in which everything appears? Don't work hard. Just notice, very simply. Everything you experience is appearing to this awake, aware presence that you already are. Rest there, even for a few seconds. A major obstacle to relaxed awakening is our addiction to spiritual states. Maybe you've tasted deep peace, boundless love, or non-dual unity. Beautiful. But then the mind quietly decides, that's it, that's awakening, I need that back. Suddenly the present moment is judged against a memory. This turns practice into a chase. Every sit becomes, is this it? No, not quite yet. Notice how that feels. Tight, evaluative, subtly disappointed. Instead, what if awakening isn't a particular state, but the stateless openness in which all states come and go? Bliss, boredom, confusion, clarity, all rising and falling in the same space of awareness. When you stop privileging certain experiences, something relaxes. Ordinary moments, washing hands, standing in line, scrolling your phone, are no longer obstacles, they're invitations. The question shifts from, how do I get back to that state, to, can I recognize this awake presence, even here, exactly as it is? Let's bring this into daily life with a simple micro practice, the 2-second drop. Several times a day, whenever you remember, pause for just 2 seconds. In those 2 seconds, do nothing on purpose. Don't fix your posture, don't control your breath, don't chase or resist any thought. Instead, let everything be exactly as it is. And notice that awareness is already effortlessly aware. That's it. 2 seconds. Then continue whatever you were doing. The power of this practice is its frequency, not its duration. It sidesteps the mind's tendency to turn awakening into a special event that only happens on the cushion. You can do this while opening a door, refreshing a web page, waiting for a reply. Over time, these tiny drops of non-doing start to weave together. You begin to trust that awareness doesn't need your constant management. Relaxation becomes less an activity and more your default orientation. Relationships are one of the most intense arenas for awakening and for forcing. We want others to validate our insights, to behave consciously, to never trigger us. When they don't, we either suppress our reactions to seem spiritual or we weaponize spirituality against them. Relaxing into awakening within relationships begins by allowing your full human experience to be here. Jealousy, anger, fear, tenderness, without labeling any of it unawake. Sense the raw energy in your body when you're triggered. Instead of quickly narrating a story about who's right or wrong, feel the sensations directly, the heat, the tightness, the buzzing. Then very gently notice that even this storm is appearing in awareness. The awareness itself is not angry or afraid. It's simply knowing what's here. You don't have to mute your emotions. You just hold them in a larger space. Over time, this softens reactivity. You respond more from clarity and less from the old reflex to control. A subtle trap on this path is spiritual bypassing, using ideas like it's all awareness to avoid feeling pain, dealing with trauma, or taking responsibility in our lives. Relaxed awakening is not numbness. It's the capacity to let everything in without collapsing. How do you avoid bypassing while still resting as awareness? First, honor the human level. If you need therapy, rest, medical help, or better boundaries, that's not a failure of awakening, it's wisdom. Attending to your relative life often makes relaxation into awareness much more accessible. Second, check the tone of your practice. When you say it's just happening in awareness, does that come with tenderness or with dismissal? If it feels like you're shrinking or disappearing your own experience, that's a red flag. True awakening makes you more intimate with life, not less. The relaxation we're talking about is radical inclusion, not spiritual avoidance. Noticing awareness is beautiful, but many people get stuck there, subtly watching life from a distance. The flavor becomes detached. I am the witness, untouched by everything. Helpful for a while, but it can turn cold. Relaxed awakening eventually reveals that awareness and life are not two. Here's a pointer. Instead of positioning yourself as a separate observer of sensations, notice that the sensations themselves are made of knowing. There isn't awareness here and experience over there. There is just this alive knowing display. The boundary between me and world starts to soften. Practically, this shows up as more intimacy with simple things. The warmth of water on your hands, the sound of wind through leaves, the texture of your own voice as you speak. You're not standing back from life. You're dissolved into it, while still completely functional. This is relaxation without distance, awake, tender, and fully engaged. As this relaxed orientation deepens, even the idea of my awakening starts to loosen. The mind loves to create a timeline, where I was, how far I've come, where I still need to get. But awareness itself doesn't have a biography. It's not improving. It's simply shining. So instead of constantly checking your progress, am I more awake today than last year? Begin asking a gentler question. Right now, is there any problem in this immediate experience before thought comments on it? Usually, the suffering appears in the commentary, not the raw data. This doesn't mean you never plan, learn, or refine your life. It just means you stop turning awakening into another self-story. Periodically, let the whole project drop for a moment. No seeker, no teacher, no path, just this awake, mysterious happening, unforced and already complete. From that recognition, you can still attend to growth, but now from a place of ease rather than deficiency. Let's gather the threads. Relaxing into awakening begins with seeing how much you've been straining, trying to earn what's already here. You learn to recognize the felt sense of forcing, the subtle tightness in body and mind, the agenda behind even your letting go. You saw that effort has its place, but eventually you shift from doing awareness to resting as the awareness that never left. We explored how safety in the nervous system supports this, how tiny, non-doing moments, the 2-second drop, can infuse your day. You learn to question the chase for special states and to recognize awakening as the open space that includes all experiences. In relationships, you discovered that even intense emotions can be held in awareness without suppression. We clarified the difference between loving inclusion and spiritual bypassing and touched into non-separation, where awareness and life are one seamless flow. Most importantly, you've seen that nothing needs to be forced for this to unfold. If this exploration has resonated, let it be more than an inspiring idea. Over the next few days, play with what we've covered. Notice when you're secretly striving on the path. Feel the micro tensions in your body. Use the 2-second drop during ordinary activities and see how often you can simply let experience be as it is, while recognizing the awareness that knows it. If you'd like more content on effortless meditation, non-duality, and embodied awakening, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future deep dives and guided practices. It genuinely helps this work reach more people who are also tired of forcing. I'd love to hear what landed for you. Was there a particular pointer or exercise that shifted something, even slightly? Share your experience or questions in the comments. We may build a future video around them. For now, see if you can close this video without effort, simply resting as the awareness in which the screen, the sounds, and even these words appear.